Chat. I am your host, Kimberly Beatty.
And I'm your co-host, Summer Geary.
Today's theme will be We're Better Together. Building the bridge, building the gap between divisiveness. What separates blacks and whites specifically. And this is a special show because this is our first show where we have an audience. And so I just need everybody to clap. We're excited.
Very excited.
Good energy. Good people are here.
Great.
And with this topic, we're going to talk about some things, but most importantly, how we can. Rome wasn't built in one day.
Right.
This show is not going to remedy all the divisiveness, but we're going to have a healthy discussion.
We have to start somewhere.
Yes.
And as we kind of review, like over the past year in the pandemic, we saw a lot of racial tension. You know, that's no secret to anybody. A whole lot of injustices going on, and as we are kind of building in the downtown area in Hattiesburg, everybody likes to come downtown, and people seem to have a good relationship with the people downtown. You see a lot of diversity coming in and out of these areas. But what do we need to do? Sometimes it's the elephant in the room, and in order to become better, we have to go ahead and just start discussing those things and getting real life accounts of what we can do to try to move forward and try to, be a little more peaceful about what we're doing and try to appreciate people's differences a little more.
And respect each other. And I'm glad you said better, because those of you that don't know, those of you that are watching, those of you that are here, hey baby, the acronym for it is Becoming Better. It is to hold you accountable for greatness. This is what this brand represents. This is what this brand is about. Hey baby is changing the vernacular of hey baby, because I know if I'm walking down the street and somebody can say, hey baby, I'm extremely disrespected. But we are, I feel disrespected. But we are changing the vernacular of that. I am holding you accountable for greatness. You are holding me accountable for greatness. And we are here together to share that and to encourage that. And that's what it's about. So.
And we do want to be an open forum now.
I was just about to say.
Kim and I are up here. We do want to hear from some of our audience members this evening.
Yes.
To discuss, only those who are a little comfortable. And I already have picked out a couple that I'm going to pick on. And they know who they are. Yeah, because we have some, some powerful people in here who are really doing some great things here in Hattiesburg, who have worked in different capacities and have oftentimes been the only minority in a particular situation, and what does that look like? And my thing is, people come from different backgrounds and different home lives and different socioeconomic situations, and that's fine. But let's just say I don't know. I don't understand. You cannot assume that people know what's going on with each other. So let's just try to figure out what we can do. Don't just say, well, why are they doing that? Or why are they so upset? Or you don't even know the backstory to it, and it's okay if you don't know. Ignorance occurs a lot in a lot of different situations. Just say, I don't know. Can you help me understand this information?
Yeah, and then not knowing doesn't always mean racism. I think we misconstrue that. It doesn't always mean racism. They're racist. They're racist. It can be ignorance or just simply not knowing and just having that conversation. If you have a opposite race of me or different race of me, and you say I'm a friend, we're friends, and we should be able to have that discussion. And so it starts here. It starts with each other. Having that discussion, we love each other, and have a respect for humanity.
Respect always works. It never goes outside.
Just have love for humanity. Because newsflash, you guys, this is not our destination. We are, as long as we're alive, we are to die.
That's very, very good.
And hopefully you thinking of, where am I going to go when I die? So if your heart is filled with hate,
that's true.
We need to, kind of talk about that. But I feel strongly that us here we can build the gap or bridge that gap,
Have a conversation.
have the conversation. And so, like Summer said, yeah, we gave our spiel, but this is interaction, healthy conversation, and so I need to hear from you all. So let's start.
I know somebody wants to start.
What separates us? Okay, I wanna share a story. I wanna share something, you guys. I wanna share something. And it goes back to what I just said, like, ignorance doesn't mean racist. It doesn't. And so I was working with a lady, and I was the youngest in the office. And she loved me to death. Like, she was white, older lady, I'm the youngest in the office. And she always complimented me on my skin color and my hair. Kimberly, you're so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I went to, what is it called, Ship Island. And I got kissed by the sun. So I changed a few shades darker. When I got back, she said, I don't want you to be dark like her. And I'm intentionally saying her because her was a co-worker of ours. Okay? I don't want you to be dark like so-and-so. And she said that to me. Out loud. She didn't know that offended me deeply. I don't believe her to be racist, but just didn't understand. And so what I told her was, hey, that's extremely offensive. I'm black, we come in different shades. I'm extremely offended. She was devastated by the fact that she offended me because she loved me so. So, don't be so quick to dismiss people as racist. It's building understanding, having that conversation with one another. And, like, Summer was saying, being around different cultures, I was grateful. I was afforded the opportunity to be brought up in a diverse place from California, different places, different people. You have whites, blacks, Belizeans, all kind of people in one state. And so it wasn't just black and white, but when I get here, black and white, as if that's the only race. And we treat it as such. And we are so divided. And so what can we do? Do anybody have a story to share? Because I'm tired of talking.
Well, I have several former students in here, and they are just so wonderful, so beautiful, and they just have done so well for themselves. And one in particular is that she is in real estate, and she is about to pull her hair out, and she is about to just come unglued. But that is Miss Bruna Brazier back there. She is of Latin Hispanic descent, but she is a very successful realtor in the Hattiesburg area. And so I pointed that out because she has to work with all different types of people in her business. And I guess I would like to know, Bruna, if you've ever, I'm sure you have been met with some form, and maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know your story. Have you been met with racism? How did you handle it? Was there like a stumbling block for you? Did you feel like discouraged by it at all? And because you become very successful here in your business, so you know.
In my younger days, I feel like any little thing caused me to get offended, right? And I think I'm kind of like in this middle, I know you guys look at it as black and white, but then there's a couple of people in that gray area that you have to kind of figure out where you fit in almost, like, do I go with these people or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't necessarily know, but I think because I came here so young, I had to learn very fast how to adapt to a different culture. Just because there's not a lot of Brazilian people here. So I kind of had to figure out who I have most in common with and let me adapt to that. And I will say, just like you said, when you went in, you got a little darker,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes if I wear my hair straight, it's during the winter, I'm a little pale, I'm more accepted during the summer when my skin tone is a little bit darker, my hair is curly and big, you know, I may not be as accepted by those people. But I feel like respect, like you guys mentioned, is, you know, just respecting other people's views. Just because they're different from your views doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong.
Yeah.
I guess just being more open-minded. I mean, I've had people say different things, even as far as, you know, calling me a wetback. I remember when I used to work in the mall, still in high school, and the car I was driving, I parked, but you kind of would like go back a little bit, you know, when you parked. And this lady, she was white. She was coming behind, you know, she was walking with her kids, and she thought I wasn't looking, and I was trying to back out and almost hit her child, right? Which wasn't. I literally had just parked, but my car came back a little bit, and I got called all types of wetbacks. You need to go back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, like I said, I was young. I felt disrespected, so I'm going back at her, right? Like, all kinds of words came out of my mouth that day. But growing up now, you know, not to say I don't have times that I feel offended and that I want to react, but I think as you grow up and you mature a little bit more and you work around different peoples, different races,
Yeah.
you'll learn to kind of take a moment, let me reflect, let me respond, because that person may just not know that that offended me.
Right.
So I think that it has been the best way for me to actually, you know, deal with people, just because I do come across so many different people every day.
Thanks for sharing, Luna. And one thing that you said that is an eye-opener for me, you know, because we do put so much emphasis on blacks and whites, but then you have that that medium.
Yeah.
Like, how do you address, you know what I'm saying? How do you address that? But in a state, in Mississippi, it's like you don't even exist,
Right.
blacks and whites.
Right.
That's my perspective.
And I would say that even for mixed people too, I have my best friend is mixed, and she gets that a lot. You know, she goes to work sometimes, and she wears her hair different. She's treated a certain way, you know. But you really get stuck in these gray areas where you really don't know where you go. You know, like where do I fit in? So you kind of have to become open-minded enough to deal with both. You know what I'm saying? To both sides.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That was great. And that's what, yes, you opened the door to the bravery. The next brave one, please. Anybody? Tashana.
And Tasha's not talking.
Anybody?
Well, I have a kind of
Hey, girl, you all know my
situation. Because
All right, guys.
where I work at, obviously I encounter so many different types of people. And in my office, we're the majority. We only have another lady with different races, and we have girls, Filipino, white women. So we're the majority at my job. But this instance for me was funny because it was one of those things where people just don't know. Maybe in their eyes it was okay. But I was assisting a gentleman at the kiosk, and at the time I had those soft locks in my hair, the locks in my hair. And he was just saying, "Oh, your hair is so beautiful." And before I could, say thank you, he put his hand in my hair. And we that don't touch my hair type thing. And I think, like Rhoda said, I kind of just like, "Oh, thank you," versus popping his hand and saying, "Hey, don't do that." But like you said, there was one of those instances where you just had to kind of sit back. I don't think he knew any better, and he thought that was just a way of complimenting me, because he was not mean. He was not like just out of line besides putting his hand in my head. But just kind of, hey, don't do that. But yeah, that was just my one of the better situations of being in that office and being the majority in that case and dealing with somebody in a different, we don't fit.
So let me challenge you.
Yes.
Had a black person rubbed your hair. That's nice.
I was Amber Rose.
What would you have done?
Thank you.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Thank you. Because I'm at work.
So what made it a black and white issue though for you?
I wouldn't say necessarily a black and white issue. I just think that we kind of know off top that, hey, can I touch your hair? Or how does it feel? We kind
Gotcha.
of already are on guard to say, we kind of get that precaution before we proceed to just do that.
So I just wanted you to expound on that and make that clear. So it wouldn't look like It's
Yeah.
okay for a black person to just
It's
rub
not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Good point.
You know,
expound on that, make that clear so everybody can understand. Anybody else?
I think it's having
Yeah.
boundaries with yourself as a person. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm not like, I can compliment you down on like how you look, and I may love how you look, but I'm not gonna like, oh, Danny, like, you know, yeah, because you don't know how sometimes this style holding up. So I think it's just more like, we know, I feel like, I'm gonna speak on just people of color, kind of like black folks, and just people of color in general. Like, I feel like there's a sense of somewhat generally speaking, of an understanding, I guess, to certain cultural things. Like,
Yeah.
just, you know, like, there are certain things that to us we get, but outside, you know, outside people may just not. But I think at the core, sometimes it is boundaries. Like, I'm a human being, you know, at the core. So it's like, you being in my space, periods, you know. Yeah.
Space
Right.
proximity.
So, Brittany, I'm gonna I'm gonna take what you just said, but change it up, because you said we are human, you know, we're human beings, and so, like, I have a friend here, Carrie, we're friends. She's not my white friend, I'm not her black friend, okay?
Right.
We have we share so many common interests, we're friends. And so, which is why I invited her here. This is not an uncomfortable moment for her. We are friends. And so having a discussion with your friends is the start of gradually building that bridge.
What's that?
And at one point,
saying that's my, and you know, and we all do it. You know, this is an
Yeah.
honest conversation. You know, that's my white friend. Or that's my. I mean, we do that. Everybody does it, but how can we get to the point of, like you said, saying
that's
my
my
friend? And
friend.
when you see her or him, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I invited my friend to my church, which is a predominantly black church. The church is the most that is Carrie that went. And so
like, oh, ever she's a girl.
yes, and so yeah, she my girl came to church with me. And so
That's right. Did you shout, Carrie?
no, we don't, Carrie, no we don't, because I don't shout. No, we don't.
Look, Carrie said. She was like, okay. Just kidding.
But she enjoyed it. And the thing of it is, I made that point to say, the church is the most divisive place. And that's the place where
From
we should be.
and outside.
That's the place where we should be more inclusive. Because if you say that you believe in God, why is the church the most divisive? Black church, white church.
And what a rude awakening is gonna be when we do wake up on the other side. Y'all, I just don't. They just boggles my mind. What do they really think? Or they? What do people really think is gonna be like? Including, you know, it's gonna be diverse. How can you just believe that there's only one race who is gonna enter into the kingdom of God? How do you operate in that manner? And we all have our own sets of prejudices. People cannot just say, I don't have a racist bone in my body. You may not, but you have different prejudices that you deal with that span over so many different things, and you just have to know that, because even though I think it may be people of different ethnic groups I may not have any interaction with, not by choice, but I just don't. You know, maybe I need to do a better job of incorporating some different types of, you know, ethnicities into my friend circle. So, you know, it's just we get used to our groups, we get used to who we're with, our circle, and that's okay too, because you want your groups of friends and your associates, but just being more mindful of what's going on. If you love God, and God puts so much emphasis on love, how can you hate another human being because of his or her race?
And that's a question. Since you said, you know, the church is so divided, do you think that do you think that it's just something that's kind of established, or is it just the energy? But I ask that because, you know, when you go to a Baptist church or whatever, you already know, kind of you know what to expect. But when you go to places like, for instance, Venture, it doesn't feel like, oh, sorry, I've been there. Sorry. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm going to a white church. Like, I'm just going to church. So is it something that, like, is it our energy in black churches that we need to work on to change so that when we do invite our friends of different backgrounds that they feel accepted? Because, you know, sometimes when we go other places, we're going to kind of just praise the Lord.
Hold on, I'm Methodist now.
But I'm just
That's
saying,
how we
like,
act in some of our Methodist churches.
but even just, if you invite somebody to worship with you, you want them to be able to worship how they worship wherever, like at their home church, at their home, they want to walk in and feel like, okay, I can worship God now, 'cause I gotta go somewhere else and get this out of me, so I can go here with you and worship. So we need to check our energy and our people, like, so why you don't invite someone?
I don't say so much as, I don't think it's energy, culture, more so. That's what I would say. Anybody that agree, disagree, I mean,
I would say history.
history.
I feel like history ties into that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's different things that were practiced throughout history, so that kind of trickles down and that affects how we act now.
Yeah.
Because I've been to ministry before, but I've also been to like my parents' church back home where it's like very Southern Baptist.
Yeah.
And the feel is different, but I think the thing that we have to realize is that even if you're in a different church setting, the love for God should be the same. And I don't think that it transfers
Yeah.
over that. Like, the love of God should be easy to pass to everybody. That doesn't change. The love of God is the same today, yesterday, tomorrow. So that's something that's constant. But when people tie in their preferences or they tie in their history or, well, this is what my grandmother did, and you're not your grandmother.
Right.
You have to understand that from this point on, you get to choose who you want to be. When you
Yeah.
come out the womb, you're alone. You die alone. The only thing that's tied to you is God.
Yeah.
That's the only person, that's the only entity that is with you from beginning to end. So to tie in all these other ideas of, well, this person does this, and that person does, okay, well, what does God say? Because last time I checked, God doesn't spew hate onto anybody.
Right.
So you have to really do a heart check, and even when you have those purposes like, oh girl, I'm about to go to a white church, like, check yourself. Because what is it that you're putting out there? What kind of hate is that coming from? Is it a place of hate? Is it a place of ignorance? You just have to
Yeah.
really do a heart check and know what it is that you're trying to accomplish by saying those things. Like saying, oh, well, this is my black friend, this is my white friend. Like by tying in that detail, what did you accomplish? What did you get at? That doesn't show love, it just shows a detail that doesn't really matter. I mean, you don't say, oh, well, she went to this high school, she went to that school.
Yeah.
No, that's just my friend from high school. You don't tell everybody where you met that person necessarily unless it goes deeper in conversation. But it even reminds me of like on the Breakfast Club when they do Donkey of the Day sometimes, and they're like, guess what race this person is? And then they like guess what the rest of the person is. And sometimes they may be right based off of cultural, expectations, and then sometimes they're completely wrong. But it's
Yeah.
like, why do we put this emphasis on race? Wrong is wrong. I don't care
Right.
if you're black, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care if you're white. Wrong is wrong, hate is hate, and we have to just get past that point where we include that little detail, and we have to learn to let it go and just infuse things in love.
Yeah. Beautiful, Danielle. It's instilled, it's rooted,
Yeah.
okay? And so we have a chance, as long as you're alive and breathing, you guys are alive and breathing because I'm looking at you, you are sitting in this room. We have a chance to get it right. We have a chance to have a conversation, that tough conversation moving forward. And it's tough, and it should be tough because you should be honest and you should be transparent.
And it's okay.
And that's what's gonna remedy the issues that we have. If you're not honest, if you're not transparent, how are we gonna move forward? How are we gonna move forward? Us in this room is not the remedy. But it's the start.
It is.
It's the start.
Oh, yes, yes.
And you keep saying it is a tough conversation to start. I've shared this story a couple of times. The first time that I know that I ever had an honest conversation about race, and I'll specify this outside of the classroom, because I don't know if how much education has changed, but most progressive teachers try to bring up race in the classroom so that at a young age we can have these honest conversations. But I was 15 and at my first job, and I stuck my foot in it. I had just gotten back from a beach vacation, and as we can all see, I am very pale. The only melanin in my body belongs in these freckles. I just burn and I just come out just as white as I was the day before, and it's awful because nothing I've tried makes it any less blindingly white. So I just come back from vacation and I'm at work and I am so sunburned, y'all. I look like a little miserable 15-year-old lobster. I'm just walking around all cranky red. And at the time, I worked at Gaddytown back when it was still open, and I was the only white person that worked in the front of house. So for once in my entire life, the only time in my entire life, I got to be the minority. Didn't have any issues with my job. Well, I hated that job, but not because of the people I worked with. Gaddytown was. Did we work together? I think you must have but I was talking, did you work with Jermaine? Because he's in this story. Then we did work together. So he walks up and he asked me how my vacation's going. And I was like, I'm so sunburned and I really hate being white. And he just kind of stopped and gave me the look like, excuse me, bitch. And I don't mean that I don't acknowledge that I have it much better in life because of the color of my skin, but the only way I hate being white is that it hurts to be a white person physically because the sun is not my friend. I'm sorry. And it was just a meltdown, y'all. I just was so embarrassed. I was like, please don't think I'm racist. It was just a whole catastrophe of foot in mouth. But then after I finally calmed down and felt confident that I had conveyed to my boss that I was not trying to be a racist, we genuinely had a really nice conversation about just the differences in not only how it affects your day-to-day life, but we specifically were talking about how it affects how you grow up. Because again, I was 15. This is my first job. Of course, I get the speech about, you're young. But it's just a hard conversation to bring up. And honestly, even since then, there have been very few times that I know that I've ever brought up a topic of race in a non-combative form, because I'm the type of person, I don't mind stepping in when I see something wrong. I mean, I've stepped in a lot of fights before of, this is clearly a situation where this is just racist. You're harassing this person because they're not white, and that's not cool, bro. Let's give this a rest. But bringing it up specifically in a non-combative form, a lot of times it's hard because it's much easier to jump into an argument than it is to say, hey, I just genuinely want to talk to you about this. Like, how can we make this better? And not fight about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the non-combative, which is why when you asked me if I wanted to come to this, I was like, that sounds great, because non-educational settings and non-combative settings, just peaceful, honest conversation about race is, even today, so rare to come by. We just don't want to talk about these things because we still treat it like it's taboo, even though we are not, like you said earlier, I'm not a grandma, you're not your grandma, we can't keep the sins of the generations of the past from keeping us to come together today.
Awesome.
This
Can you repeat that last
part?
part?
That came to me and I'm kind of we can't let the sins of our past generations keep us from coming together today.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that was most refreshing over the years, seeing it's like when people have been oppressed in so many different ways, didn't choose to be oppressed, but people want to keep putting them in these boxes and oppressing them in so many, but it was good to finally see, like this is not right. You have just different people from different backgrounds, and this is standing up for just human rights. So that was very refreshing for me to finally see that stuff, saying, I'm not going to get in that. I'm going to let them go on. They're upset and they're mad right now. They'll calm down. they stood out there with them, you know, with that fight. I thought it was really, really good.
I find myself doing it at work. Standing up, I have a Filipino coworker, and you know where I work, call centers are outsourced. I don't care who you work for. We all know that call centers are going to be outsourced. So a lot of times you do get foreign people on the phone, but we oftentimes have people who come in and all. The first thing they say is, "I called and they sent me straight to the Philippines." And a lot of the time she's standing right there. And Camille is very like, she's not me. You know me.
We know.
Paul, you're not gonna say that. She just, you know, she just kind of takes it. And after so long, it started to irritate me. Like one time, like I got like really upset. I was like, people are constantly letting these people come in here and say that, and she's sitting right there, or they're saying it to her. And obviously, she doesn't look like me. She doesn't look like you. So you know when you say that, you're offending her. She's not gonna say it. I even brought it to my boss. I was like, okay, we hear this all the time. It's getting to the point now where it's really getting on my nerves. How do we address this? Because I don't know if these people are ignorant, just like our racist. And I even put myself in line, like, if I have to like defend her, and that means I'm getting in trouble, I don't care, because I know I'm standing up for something that's right. Because I'm really like, you can't just say, or I'm talking to somebody and you don't know what my mother is. You don't know what my dad is. Like, and they just come in there and say it, and I just be like, listen. And at one point, this man, I was helping him. He was like, yeah, I was talking to somebody and then on the phone, and I think they were in Ethiopia. You said so black. And I said, well, my mother's in Ethiopia. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. No, you're ignorant. That's but, you know, at my job, we have those conversations like this. We are, you know, a store full of people of color.
You get a little louder on this train.
We're a store of people of color.
This is
So,
trains on Monday.
you know, we have these type of conversations at work because we know what we'll deal with. We have people who come here and throw stuff in our faces, and we know that if it was somebody else in front of them, they would do it. But, you know, like I said, back to her, it was having that conversation with our team and figure out, okay, we either gonna defend her as one, or we're just gonna sit here and let her just continue to be offended, because she's not gonna say anything. I mean, she'll say it after the fact, but she's not gonna directly address it and say anything. So it's that, hey, let's not do that in here. Call somebody in the call center and ABCDFG. Doesn't matter where they work, because they should have been sitting in their living room in Miami, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that has everything to do with the heart, Amber. Okay.
And for standing up. for
Yeah.
something.
And so you don't have to share my color, my race to feel that it's not right. We're human first. Humanity first. And so living in Mississippi, I can't say that I've experienced racism. I can't say that, but I'm not naive to the fact that it exists. And so with having a son, a single parent, male black child, and I say all that intentionally because I'm single and he's black, that is he's a statistic, okay? But he's a great kid, bright kid, college graduate. His chances of being stopped by the police is great. The outcome of that, of him being stopped by the police, is not so great because he's black and he's a male. That's a problem. And that should not be a problem for me because I'm his mother, but it should be a problem for you. It should be a problem for you. It should be a problem for you, Carrie, and everybody in this room, because we're human first. I'm getting emotional. Talk.
I think that's my line sister back there. You know I like to plug my sorority jump. That is my precious line sister back there, Jamila, and she has worked in the field. I'm gonna let her just kind of talk a little bit about that, where she has been like the only black and a lot of times the only female, so she was 2 minority categories. So I think she wanted to say something.
Okay, yeah, my name is Jamila, and I'm an information technology, that's the IT, and people like, what is that? Information technology professional.
And let me say this, you know, she has a degree in this. A lot of people just started doing this haphazardly.
Did you say hazardly?
Haphazardly, they started making it a career there. But she has a degree. Go ahead.
Yeah, two degrees.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in the healthcare side of information technology, and like you just said, information technology is primarily male, and then it's primarily white male. And so me being a female, I don't see too many in me. Being black, you don't see too many in me. So my whole career has been, I've always been a minority. And I'll just give one situation that was very offensive to me, and this came from a VP of my last, one of the companies I worked for. We were in the room, I'm the only African American in the room. And he asked me, have you ever had a problem getting a job because of your name? No. I'm working out. Right, you know, but I'm just sitting there like, what? And I was so shocked, I couldn't say nothing, but all of my coworkers like jumped on him like, man, you know, that was not appropriate, da da da. And I'm just sitting here like, did this man just like ask me? Or, you know, my name is Jamila. So I guess he's like, Jamila, you don't know who I am. Some people think I'm Arabic, they think it's you know, they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So it was just really offensive to me, but those are the type of situations I experience from day to day. And I manage projects. Like I said, being a black female, most of the people who are under me are not my race. So I constantly get pushback. So if one person makes a mistake or I make a mistake, it's a totally different outcome. My mistake goes to the VP, their mistake goes unnoticed. You know, so it's like, OMG. You know, you just have to be a strong person to know who you are as a person. So it's like, what you have, your problems don't have nothing to do with me. I'm going to do my job to the best of my abilities, and I keep all my documentation. So when you do tell that lie, I say no, A, B, C, D, and then you look bad, not me. But I have, and it shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't have to document everything I do because I know someone's going to come back and try to sabotage me. But that's just my industry. And I love what I do, which is why I don't change. You know, I love my job. So I'm not going to let you stop me from doing what I want to do in life because you have a problem. You know, it's just not going to happen. So listen, like, you just have to be a strong individual in yourself to deal in that environment, be okay with it, and just like cancel out the noise. One of my coworkers, I did run across one black guy who was working. And he said, "But girl, the calls, you're always so calm." He said, "Everybody's up in the air just hollering and screaming. They ask you a question, you're just like, well, yeah." And he asked, "What do you do?" I said, "I listen to gospel music all day."
I'm telling you.
I mean, seriously. When I'm at home working, I play the gospel station to keep me grounded. You know, you have to find what you can do to help you stay grounded so you want to move to the next level. So that's what I figured out. I used to be stressed out up there. I turned on Pandora, listened to my gospel music, and it was like they get that stuff cutting up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. You know, I'm mentally balanced. So yeah, it's just, you have to, like I said, you can't allow people in their ignorance or whatever it is that they have going on in themselves dictate who you are as a person or how you react and what you do.
Right.
So that's just something that, as I go through life, I just, deal with it. It helps me grow as a person, and like I said, I love my industry. They're not going to run me away. I'm going to keep doing what I do, and if you have a problem, it's on you. I have nothing to do with it.
And they don't
Right.
speak, and they don't speak for everybody.
Right.
They don't. And there are people that don't look like you that love you and appreciate the work you do. So I encourage you to keep going, and thank you for sharing.
I think I saw your little finger up on them a few minutes ago.
Earlier, I was just, I guess, on what Amber was saying about, it's just right is right, wrong is wrong, regardless of color, religion, anything else. And I will say, like, I think last year when the protest was going on, when the mayor said what he had to say, everybody was kind of, very upset about it. That was during when COVID first kind of started happening, and with the truck brokerage I was with before, we were doing just the Zoom meetings because we were in a meeting office. And usually you can't see my face, I just, I'm at home, I don't put myself on mute, I'm just there listening. But they said at that point to kind of, hey, try to stay off social media, let's kind of, step back, we don't want to offend anyone. Look at me, unmute, I got something to say today. And I said very little, but I just wanted them to understand at that point, not saying something is saying something, and I feel like sometimes you may not even be the person who did something wrong, but when you don't stand up for it and, say, hey, that was wrong, people view you
That's true.
as an aggressor too, like you are
That's
part
true.
of the problem.
That's
you know?
right.
And I told him, I said, majority of my friends, majority of the people I surround myself with, majority of my clients at this point, they're minorities.
Yeah.
So how do I sit here and help them? I make money doing this. And then when it comes to a point where here it is, we're in this place of hate towards, this specific race. And I just go missing, I go ghost, because I don't want to say something that's going to offend another race and stop them from doing business with me in the future,
Yeah.
I can't do that. And I told them that on Zoom, I said, I'm going to voice my opinion because, again, right is right, wrong is wrong. And if somebody's offended by it and don't want to do business with me based off what I say and what I post, then I don't want to do business with them either because I don't agree with their beliefs are not right, So I guess going back to how we can be better together and how we can kind of try to hash this, right is right, wrong is wrong, and speak up. Speak up. Even if I was to see somebody of, my race doing something wrong, saying something racist, it is my job at that point, it's my responsibility at that point to, I'm going to say correct, of course, in a respectful way, but in line with that person, because like you said, they may not know, they may just be ignorant to that, topic or that situation. But I will say, I feel like a lot of people just try to, I'm just not going to say nothing, I'm not going to get involved, it doesn't have anything to do with me, but it does.
It does. And Bruna, like, what you said was so important, like, the money that you make, well, recognizing right from wrong takes precedence over the money you can make. But let's talk about the money you can make. Your business can't thrive with just your race alone.
Yeah, right.
We need each other.
Right.
We need each other. You need my money.
Right.
It's okay to take it
Right? So, yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I got one last thing to say. I hate to say this because I just saw it on Facebook not too long ago or earlier today. I think also we have to be better at educating each other. Whether you white, black, Asian, or whatever. And I say, for instance, the young lady that's killing it in track, Shakari, how do you say her name? Excuse me for pronouncing it wrong. But there are a lot of people celebrating her, all colors. But then there's some of us, well, why her hair gotta be this color? Why she running the lashes? Why her nails this color? That's her. This is not something that's new. She's a 21-year-old young black lady expressing herself through her hair, her makeup, and her lashes, and like just killing it. Y'all got my photo. That's her
It right out
inspiration.
about mouth and women.
So how is that was okay? We celebrate her 30 some odd years ago, and then here she comes and is, she ghetto. No, I love every bit of her, and she killed. And the thing about her that I love so much is that she does not care about the negative. She does not feed into the negative because all she says, you can say whatever you want about me. When I get on this track, it's against that clock.
Yes,
Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
She lost her mama a week ago.
Wow.
Her biological mother she lost
Wow.
a week ago. And she could easily
drop into that, drop into the negative, but she's still pressing forward. So what's the issue with just celebrating her? I don't care what have to be rainbow on the track. If my girl running in the first place, I don't care if she gets second place. It's still, I'm gonna share every video, whatever I can. She don't know me from Hillbilly, but it's just the matter of why you feed into that negative.
Right.
You know, with so much going on, she should be celebrated in every way possible.
And I agree, we should educate each other more.
No, it's safe.
Is Tashana talking?
We have done something tonight. Tashana Cooley is
Tashana, do not speak. Tashana, do not. Go ahead, Tashana. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Just piggyback on what she said. I mean, it's sad that we do it to each other. You know, it's so sad. That's one thing I hate. You know, that we do. You know, to one another. I mean, it's extremely sad. Just social media, just reading comments of people. I be like, oh my God, they just say that. It just hurts me just to read comments and how people. So don't you
so mean.
I'm miserable.
Judgmental.
Say that again, Tashana.
Miserable. They are. Yeah.
I think that's part of the divisiveness though, because if you notice, amongst Caucasian people, they have togetherness. Like, it doesn't matter if that person may be in a penthouse or a trailer park. They're gonna unite. They're gonna unite. But when it just seems like amongst African Americans, we've all seen this happen.
It's not seen, it is.
It's existing. We see a constant tear down. Like, even with Simone Biles, they tear her left and right. Like, she's an Olympic gold medalist, and you focus on some hair. Like, can we focus on talent? And I say this because Black people are very talented, white people are very talented, everybody is very talented. And so I think that sometimes amongst the African Americans, we neglect that there are talented people. Like, this is a talented person. Why can't we just support? It's just like when Coming to America 2 came out. Everybody knew that movie was not going to be like the first one.
Exactly.
Me and my dad had this conversation. I said, honestly, I feel like African Americans have invented cancel culture. Because when we see something we don't like, instead of educating ourselves or being like, oh, okay, they do them. Oh, no, she ain't it. She not, No, like, why is it so much hatred? Like,
We tear each other down like.
is her sewing affecting you? Are you going to lose money about it? Are you going to lose sleep over it? Let's let it go.
Right.
Just like Coming to America 2. You knew that movie was not going to be just like the first one. You knew that.
You knew it.
You knew that. But
Still
instead of people saying, oh,
Just
okay, that was a good effort, they brought in they made a lot of different jobs for a lot of different African Americans. Let's get behind this.
Right.
It wasn't the same as the first one.
course it wasn't.
Just be happy that somebody did something that y'all been begging for 20 years. And gave jobs to many different people. So, like, why is it that we have to speak out this hate? So I think that's where some of the divisiveness comes from, is within ourselves. But I also think that, like, right, and then also, like, historically, there is a loss of identity. Right. So since there is that loss of identity, we try to just latch ourselves onto anything. And when it's something that we don't necessarily attach ourselves to,
Speak louder.
if it's something that we don't intentionally attach ourselves to, then we just tear it down. And that's one thing that I can say when I see that Caucasian people are like togetherness, I'm like, why can't we do that? Like, what's the issue? Like, why can't we be together? Because, I mean, even back in the day when there was slavery, they had togetherness. So what happened?
But Danielle, on this same point,
I think it's
one thing with
most
slavery is you have to also realize that when we were enslaved, people used a lot of different tactics to make us hate one another.
Yeah, that's true too.
They used a lot of separation tactics to keep people oppressed.
Even
Separated from the house to the field.
Right.
And then even within that realm, and that's something that happened to us historically, like I said. But, like we said a moment ago, there's no excuse for us. We've been free a long time.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We can get past it, but we have to just it's still a mindset.
It's a
All that is a
That
mindset.
oppressed mentality.
Yes,
Like
that
she
oppressed
said, from the
mentality.
field to the house. And even today, today in our culture as Black people, light is better. Lighter is better.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, we have to educate each other. It's a problem. It is.
And that's an Indian culture too,
It is.
with the Latin culture too, I think, well, you know, and it's not just with African Americans, it's just within. If you go to like caste systems and stuff, when you're talking about people who are, you know, from India, they separate people because of color and stuff. Just, oh, we got our friend's hand up over here.
The resident old guy speaking.
We want to hear from it.
Several things said reminded me of a chat I had with a former student of mine. I teach in college that they carried and taught at Southern previously. She is a brilliant lady. She's from Zimbabwe. And we were talking and we had enough conversations. I said, so how do you interact with, she said, I really don't fit. And I said, explain that. Because she's Black, basically. But she said, I'm not African American, so when I'm with a group of African American folks, I don't fit in. She said, I'm obviously not white, so when I'm with a group of white folks, I don't fit in. And here's a brilliant, friendly, very talented lady that was kind of left on her own because she technically wasn't one of us, which whoever us might be. And so that actually became her subject of academic research that she does. She got her PhD, and I would say it's brilliant. But and following off of that, a local pastor, he didn't say it to me as third hand, but it has stuck with me, was talking to another old white guy, and the white guy said, so what can we do to help this divisiveness? And the pastor said, do you have any Black friends? And my friend started to answer, and the pastor said, now let me clarify what I mean. Whose shoes have been under your table, having a meal, just chit-chatting out of friendship. And said, when you put it that way, not very many, so start there.
Wow.
So that's come up, that's kind of come up,
That's
I think several things of, you know, I can separate, if I go, oh, well, you're one of those people, whoever those people might be, that's different than, remember last time we were sitting and eating, having crawfish or whatever it was, and we got to talking about how we like the same kind of music or whatever. That I think that's not gonna directly address the systemic stuff, but I think it's a good and fairly easy start. It's gonna necessitate the awkward conversations at first.
Yeah.
Where the lines are about hair and a lot of the other things we talked about. But that's right up there on the top of my own list as an old white guy to try to increase that. Yeah.
You need a safe place so that you trust each other.
Yeah.
A safe place to address
Safe
it.
place.
Yeah.
Safe.
Yes. Amber?
Oh, wow, y'all. I say it was good.
We out on the line?
An hour.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
this was.
well, this is good.
It was
This is
wonderful.
great. This
It
is,
was wonderful. It was
you guys, like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
she cracks it.
she cracks the whip.
If
So
anybody else has anything they would like to say, we're gonna
we gonna bring
wrap
it
up in a moment.
We gonna wrap it up.
Oh,
Are you ready?
are you ready, misters? Okay.
And you guys, like, I hope you have, you can take something away from this, okay? And I challenge you to apply what was heard today and what you individually can do to mend and to, throw this divisiveness out the door. Like, it starts with us. And I am like so ecstatic, my heart is just like so happy right now. This is what Hey Baby is about. Becoming a better you.
Started somewhere.
It's bigger than me. It's bigger than Summer.
Mhm.
Becoming a better you. It starts with all of us in this room.
And I want to say it's okay when people are different. Let's love people's differences, and like let's love that and embrace that. Everybody's not gonna agree. Everybody's not gonna have the same opinion. Listen. I love my culture. We have some stuff that we do that's just specific to us, and we like it. Same thing goes for anybody in this room. You know what I'm saying? I can't go out here. I may want to dance like I'm Brazilian, but I know I have good rhythm, but I mean, I'm not of that descent. You know what I'm saying? I love to watch it. It's beautiful. Let's embrace it. Let's do this stuff, but it's okay. We are different. Embrace that, but have those conversations. Yeah, and get started with trying to become a better person and grow.
Do this for me, you guys, real quick. When I say hey baby, say it back to me, because we are challenging each other to be better. Hey baby.
Hey baby.
Hey baby.
Hey baby.
Hey baby.
Hey baby.
Hey baby, let's chat.
We do have to give a huge shout out to Nelson now.
Yes.
Has opened up his spot.
Yes.
He does not have to do this.
And this
Let
is
us do this now, and he is
Nelson,
awesome.
know I love him, and forgiveness. This is a closed night, by the way, you guys. He's not open on Mondays, and so he opened it up for us because he believes in us. So shout out to Nelson and Blue Jazz, and shout out to our home, the Arter,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes,
and like I love you guys.
And
Genuinely.
thank you all for coming, all of our audience members. We thank you all for speaking and feeling comfortable to go ahead and share your opinions.
Yeah.
You know, at this venue, we appreciate y'all. And you know, these are our supporters. Now we got some supporters in this room.
Yeah.
Baby. So we
Yeah.
are very thankful